Well, hello everyone, welcome back guys. Hope you all are doing well. Today we are gonna see lab number 3 from HTTP Request Smuggling vulnerability module. And in today's lab, we are again going to exploit CL.TE vulnerability, but this time we will exploit this vulnerability to achieve something or to gain something. Okay, so exploiting HTTP request smuggling to bypass front-end security controls, CL.TE vulnerability. So that means the front-end server is using content length and the backend server is using transfer encoding. Fine. Now the description of this lab is like this lab involves a front-end and backend server, and the front-end server does not support chunked encoding. That means the front-end server is using content length. There is an admin panel at /admin, but the front-end server block access to it. To solve the lab, smuggle a request to the backend server that accesses the admin panel and delete the Carlos user. So I just open the lab here. This is our lab, and let's see if I just try to access /admin. Let's see what happened. So you can see path admin is blocked. That means this message comes from the front-end server because front-end server block any request going towards /admin. Okay, so the request never reached to the backend server if you try to access /admin. Okay, but the backend server can access that. So let's see what we can do. I'm gonna take this request. This is the web root request, and I'm going to send this request to the repeater. Go to the repeater, and we will first of all, you make sure that the request attribute from here in the inspector section, make sure you just degrade the HTTP version to HTTP 1 from 2. Okay, so now here you can see HTTP 1.1. Second thing, which is most important, that if you go to the repeater tab, make sure that update content length is disabled, because if it is enabled, whatever content length you define manually, it is going to change it every time once you send the request. So that will make the issues for you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete every HTTP request header from here, and I'm going to add few important headers like content type header, and the content type is content type is gonna be application /x -www -form -url encoding. Okay, let me check the spelling. URL encoding application. Fine. Now the second header I will check here, which is content length, and I'm not gonna mention right now the content length because once I measure the content length, only then I will put it here. Now the last one is transfer encoding. So transfer -encoding. Okay, and transfer encoding is gonna be chunked. Fine. Make sure the spelling is correct. Okay, now what I'm going to try here, because the front-end server is supporting or using the content length, not the chunked encoding. So the content length I will mention here after writing everything I need. So because transfer encoding is not supported by the front end, it's supported by the back end. So I want, once the request go to the back end server will see the zero byte. That means it will segregate the rest of the content as the beginning of the second request. So the first request will be ended here and the second request will start from here. And here I'm gonna add something, let's say get /admin and HTTP /1.1, because I want to access the admin panel. And the same thing, very basic, which we did in the first lab. I'm gonna add here x ignore, okay, which we used in the first lab. Okay, that's it. And what I need is, I don't want any new line here. Now I need to define here content length. So how you define content length, just hover the cursor or highlight the content from 0 to here, and then just check out this length, which is 37, and I'm gonna put here 37. Okay, this is your content length. And I'm just going to define again what is going to be happened. So once this request go or reach to the front end server, let me just change the request method to post. Okay, so once this request is attained by the front end server will see, okay, content length is 37. So that means all of this is the data associated with the with this post request, and it will include everything and send this to the backend server, send this complete request to the backend server. Once backend server interpret or read this request, because backend server will not see this or will not consider this content length, it will consider the transfer encoding, and transfer encoding is chunked, so it will read the request. Once it will see, okay, 0 byte, that means the message ends here. This is the first request, and then it will consider this segment as the second request. Fine. Now because the front end server cannot identify that we try to access admin panel, because here the endpoint is web root, so it will send the request. If I wanted to access the admin here, it will block us. Fine. So the backend server can actually access /admin. So once this second request will be executed or processed by the backend server, it will call this /admin endpoint, and we may access it like that. Fine. So let's just send this request. So the expected result is 200. Okay, fine, and send it one more time. And as you can see, 401 unauthorized. Why this is unauthorized? Because the request does not know where to go to find out /admin. So that means we should add here host header, and host I'm gonna mention local host, because I want backend server access this endpoint as a local host. Fine. Now because we changed something here, so that we need to find out the content length again, and the content length this time is 54. So I'm gonna write here 54, send the request again, and unauthorized. Let me just check, send the request again. Bad request because it's saying duplicate header names are not allowed. And one more thing, whenever you change anything and try to send the request again, just take a bit time, okay, so that if there is anything in the cache or buffer. So 200, okay, send one more time. Okay, so instead of unauthorized, this time unauthorized is not there, because we already put the host header and the value is localhost. But there is another error which is saying duplicate header names are not allowed, and this could be because of that. So let's say I'm gonna put here content type and content length, paste, and instead of that I'm gonna just add here any data. Let's say field is equal to ABC. Okay, now we need to just put here the content length, which is 9. So I'm gonna put here, let's say 10, just 1 byte more than that. You can put it 15 or 20 or more than the exact value. Fine. And because we change many things here, so now the content length is also changed here. So just highlight everything, 124. So I'm gonna change here 124. That's fine. Send the request one more time. 200, okay, send one more time, and this time the second request also saying 200. Okay, so that means we access the /admin endpoint, but let's just be sure about it. So scroll down, let's see if you see anything here like admin panel. Fine. And within the admin panel there is a section of users where the user is Carlos, and Carlos and Wiener users are there, and this is how you can delete the users. If you want to delete Wiener user, you specify username is equal to Wiener and Carlos. So to solve the lab, we need to delete the Carlos user. I'm gonna just copy that, and here I'm gonna paste that. Fine. Rest of the things are same. You just need to calculate the content length one more time. So just highlight everything up to 0 and 147. Just update the content length here. This is the same 10 and send the request. So 200, okay, fine. Send again, and 302 found. That means, and it's again forwarding, redirecting to the /admin back to the lab, and you can see congratulations, you solved the lab. So that's it for this video. I hope you understand it. If you like the content, please like, subscribe and share. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye.